Members of the squad exploding with rage after Congresswoman Ilhan Omar got voted off the Foreign Affairs Committee. The progressive representatives saying that racism is why Republicans removed Omar and not her history of anti-Semitic remarks.
Congresswoman Omar, I am so sorry, sis, that our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong
the gentlewoman
on that
is no longer.
Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
Omar insists that being kicked off the committee will not silence her.
My leadership and voice will not be diminished if I am not on this committee for one term. My voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
And AOC later escalating her attacks on Republicans for this move.
It's uncomfortable serving with people who engage in what many experts deem stochastic terrorism. I've consistently had to ride in 20,000-pound armored vehicles, engaging in some of the most gruesome threats that you can imagine that were incited by Republican members.
Okay, Harold, let's start with you. Rashida Tlaib said that the country's failing her, doing what it is best at, weaponizing hate against a black, beautiful Muslim woman. Is this what's happening here?
So I've said for a while, I think that the back and forth between the parties and payback will never stop if someone doesn't become an adult in the room. Offensive language and behavior in politics, if that's the standard for not being able to serve on a committee, there would not be many people would not be serving on committees in the Congress, because someone always deems someone's language as offensive, or they're opposing it. Two, I don't see that the racial part of it is not something I see. I'm quick to point out race when I think race is an issue, but I think here Democrats were guilty in the Congress before in taking off one or two Republicans because they didn't like their language, they didn't like their words. I think the words of Marjorie Taylor Greene and others I found offensive and I found deeply disturbing. But I'm an old-fashioned guy when it comes to politics. I think the way you defeat someone in politics is you actually defeat them in politics. You defeat them at the election. And unless you do something that violates the standards of the House, and there are rules around, if you get indicted, you can't serve on a committee. Your committee membership or standing is in peril or in question. But in this instance, I don't understand, and I hope at some point that adult-like behavior comes back, because if Democrats win the majority in 24, 26, or whenever they win it, they'll win it again. We're going to have this same kind of thing happen probably, and I just hope and pray that adults and adult behavior emerges again in the Congress.
Shani, what do you say to that? I mean, does there come a point where people say, look, I totally disagree with Omar, and I think she should be, she's basically being canceled for anti-Semitic remarks, right? That's what's happened here.
Look, let's be clear on this. The Democrats did it. And, I think the criticism should have come when the Democrats did it, because we told them. We told them that they're establishing the precedent. OK, you establish the precedent. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. But what I find most fascinating about this is that, like Rashida Tlaib is saying, she's a black, beautiful woman. She's an Islamic woman. Intersectionality is not a defense that you can use to every argument that someone makes. She was taken off because they had to pass a congressional resolution because of her attacks on Israel and Jews, the Benjamins, and all the other stuff, and supporting BDS, which is a State Department-defined act of anti-Semitism. You know, so we're talking about an ally of the United States, and she has crossed the line many times. So this has nothing to do with her color. It has nothing to do with her religion. If that were the case, Maxine Waters wouldn't be sitting on committees. Okay, so let's make it clear what this is about. This is about a woman who has displayed behavior that people believe she shouldn't be on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and she shouldn't have that kind of information. And, you know, no intersectionality argument is a defense to that.
So, Jesse, Kevin McCarthy says that he's going to form a bipartisan group to create a House Code of Conduct so that there's agreement on these kinds of things when people are potentially going to be removed from committees for their actions.
That sounds like a good idea to me. I like that. I'm with the judge. Race is now such a dodge. It's not about the issues. It's just about race. I'm terrible at math, but I think I can handle this. If two white guys got kicked off committee, Schiff and Swalwell, then she was treated just like the two white guys. Why is it about race with her, but it's not about race with these guys? Schiff didn't say, oh, I'm getting kicked off because I'm Jewish. He could have said that. Swalwell said, I got kicked off because I'm short. You could always use something that has nothing to do with the issue to make yourself more of a victim. And the fact that Omar had her staff go to Kinko's and blow up a photograph of herself as a young girl, life-size, and put it next to herself while she spoke on the House floor. The ego to do that. I would not do that. Donald Trump would not do that. Greg Gutfeld would never do that, although the placard would be smaller. It takes a certain type of ego to speak in front of a large life-size pictures of yourself and make it all about her. It's all about her. And have you ever heard the squad that upset when their constituents get shot? When one of their constituents gets shoved into a subway track, when someone ODs from cartel fentanyl, they never get upset. They got this upset when one of their squad members got removed from a committee. And that tells you it's all about them. It has nothing to do with us, the voters.
Yeah, and it's all about her gender and her skin color and her religion. Greg.
Yeah, and I mean, she was booted from a Foreign Affairs Committee, but to be honest, she'd be better on the Family Affairs Committee. She is the luckiest person in America. She is a refugee who was able to use the generosity of this system and the tolerance and the open-mindedness of the American public to live above the rules. The case in point is I make this joke. I've been making this joke for I don't know how long about her husband and her brother. Do they ever respond? They don't have to. Could you imagine if there was a strong, not debunked rumor, not even a rumor, assumption that a Republican married a sibling? Where the Washington Post, democracy would die in the darkness if we didn't cover that. But in this case, it's like, you know, you can make a joke about it. Nobody even, it's just like, yeah, we get it. Too bad, so what, you know? But going back to what the judge said, you know, she voted against people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Gosar. And then if you look at the January 6th committee, where basically they picked and choose the team. So if you're going to make if you're going to do that, and the goose gander argument, I've said it before, classified documents probably didn't mean anything for Trump or for Biden, but they made a big deal about it. Yep. And the only way you can teach Democrats a lesson is to give it back to them. I don't like that strategy, but the fact is it's the only way to get them to stop making big deals out of stupid things. This is a trend that happened with Trump. The inclination now is to fight fire with fire. Mm-hmm. This might be the only way to get certain Democrats to behave, because turning the other cheek, all you end up with is with a bruised butt.
And that's why you have to impeach Joe Biden.
Exactly. Impeach him now.
That's equity. That's true equity.
That's true equity.
This can go on forever.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.